In this video, I'd like to show you how I draw Anis in preparation for a watercolor painting. In the reference photo I used, we're kind of looking up from about her knee level. So to get the perspective right, I first of all draw a box to frame her body. Her knee level is about here. Her head is about here. I'm just making a rough sketch of her body first. This is her arm. Although I just need a simple sketch for the watercolor painting, I usually like to construct her body before I put on her clothes. Before I go into any more details, I want to make sure the proportion of her body is captured correctly. This is the center line of her rib cage. Her upper body is more twisted away from us, so we're more looking at her side. Because we're looking up at her at an angle, this arm needs to be shifted down a bit. Roughly here. This is her hip bone, and drawing a box is very easy to see the perspective. Her lower body is turned this way, more towards us, so we can see more of her right-hand side. Hip comes out from here, and leg goes down this way. This is about her knee. And I'm capturing the curve of her calf. Having this box just really remind me to have her lower body a little bit bigger than her upper body to show the perspective. Her center of gravity is more on her right leg, so in proportion to her whole body, this right leg is more directly under her body. This knee is a bit low because they should be on the same level. Her elbow joint is roughly around her waistline. and her hand holding the weapon, going this direction. For this arm, the elbow is roughly at her nose level. I'm trying to get the proportion right. And here's a muscle connecting to the chest part. And because her right arm is reaching forward, pulling her right chest up a bit. Left chest is roughly here. Now I captured her whole pose. I can add in details for her face. It's a side view of her head. So I usually like to draw a circle here indicating her skull and then have her nose come out like this. Because we're looking up to her, we can see part of her chin here. Her ear is about here, but mostly will be covered by the hair anyway. And her eyes are roughly here, just above the nose. The pencil was too thick for the details, so I'm switching to a 0.5 mechanical pencil to draw her features. The eye is very small to see, but usually when you look at an anime eye from a side view, you will see it's like this. But since now we're looking up at her, we want to make sure we capture the perspective by changing this line. So this is basically frames her cheek. Because her head is like this, and if we're looking up at her, the cheek goes like this, and the cheek is the bottom of the eye. So that's why just by having this little stroke here that goes upward, it shows that we're looking up at her. Also the chin, because we're looking up at her, the chin is smoother. And this curve goes like this to show the stretch of the neck to the chin. Neck can be a little bit thicker. And then because we're looking at her from the side, this muscle here, we can see her collarbone, and this muscle here goes straight down, connected to the shoulder. And here is her shoulder joint. All right, back to her face. Eyebrow, simple straight line. Also, the eyelash needs to go upward to show that we're looking up at her from below. Okay, so now her hair has a few sections. I'm going to simplify for the watercolor painting because this will be the actual size I'm gonna paint her. We're not gonna have that much of details as in the digital painting. So I'm going to group her hair by sections. Here is her band. She has a big section in the front and then a small strand here, and we can group this section together. She also has a short section goes out from here, and we can also group it. Her band's too long. It's very important to capture the right length of her hair to show which character it is. So for Anis, her hair ends about roughly just past her eye. And the hair from the back, she ties it up here with a ribbon. I'm drawing the shape of the ribbon, but when we paint it, it's probably just one brush stroke. Because it's tied up here, the hair flies up in the back. This piece needs to go a little bit higher and a little bit thicker. And the ones in the back, we can also simplify it to a few sections. A big section here, and this bunch goes behind her neck, and a section here. I want to have the minimal amount of information to show this is Anis. And the important feature of her is this hair tie, this ribbon, and her hairstyle. I'm cleaning up a bit so you can see, but I will do a final cleanup of the line art in the end. Now we can put her clothes on. Because we have the body already, it's very easy to put on the clothes. What I want to do is to capture the important part to show who she is. So basically she has a white jacket with gold trim. I definitely want to make sure I have the gold trim. She has some ribbon tied in front of her jacket, and we can simplify it by having just a few strokes here. Showing the wavy form of it. She has a dark colored ribbon here. And her jacket is blown up by the wind. So the front piece comes down like this, and goes behind her. In the painting, I'm definitely going to make sure I have this gold trim in to indicate that it is her. Shoulder is about here. Looks like her jacket is pretty thin, so I don't need to draw too far away from her body, just a little bit. And she has a pinkish shoulder patch over here. Just some simple fold to indicate the sleeve. And I'll simplify all the folds on her jacket sleeve. And around her sleeve, the end of her sleeve, she has a gold trim around here, so the sleeve goes in. And at the end of the sleeves, she has a bunch of frills, and it's blown up by the wind. Before that, I should probably put the hand in. I'm grouping the fingers together just to get the general shape right. And I'm drawing some smaller lines just to indicate some separations, just to indicate the individual fingers. Now back to the sleeve, the frills. I definitely want to capture the movement by the wind. I think she has 2 layers of frills. This side needs to go a bit closer because wind is blowing this way. Now back to her jacket. Under the jacket, she's wearing a shirt. The shirt is tucked into her skirt, and the skirt looks like it's the waistband is around her thinnest part. A simple fold where the shirt tucks in. Fold here. Her skirt is also being blown this way, and the skirt ends about mid-thigh area. First, I'm sketching a general shape of the skirt, and here it blows up a bit. So she has a red skirt, and underneath there's a bunch of frills and many layers, and it looks like the back is longer than the front. So I'm going to have some simple shapes to describe the frills and the movement of the skirt. So first of all, this part seems to be blown up like this. So you will see a fold here. And because it's a loose watercolor painting I'm going to paint, I'm not going to put in too much details like each individual frills and how they curl and everything. I'm just put in some rough shapes. Now we probably should draw her swords. Her hands goes down to here, and the swords is kind of in front of her. So I'm drawing a line connecting the handle to the ground, where the tip of the sword is going to be. And I'm going to make sure everything is on a straight line, including the handle. Because we're looking at it at an angle, it's not 90 degrees. It's more like this. So I'm just drawing the basic shape of this handle part. And make sure this line, the widest part of the sword, is parallel to this guard. And then I can connect the tip of the sword to the widest part to complete the shape. Now we can complete her boots. She has some stocking here in white. It shows it's mostly blocked by the sword, but it shows a little bit. Her white stocking has an edge like this, diamond-shaped edge. Same thing for this leg. The kneecap needs to be brought up a little bit here and needs to be sharper. And this is her boots. Her boots has this fold here, folds down. And because it's looks like it's a leather boots, you want to make it a little bit thicker than her legs. And add some small folds here and there just to indicate that the bendiness. Same thing for this one. they're end about the same level. They end about the same height. And yeah, I always want to make sure this fold is a little bit thicker than the leg, obviously thicker than the leg, so it shows that the thickness of the boots. And she has some little bowl here. The last portion left is her right arm. Starting from the band, the gold band for the cuff of the sleeve. It's a very simple sleeve. Wind blows this way, so this side should be closer to her arm. And since she's reaching up, this side being pulled, so this is a diagonal line. One simple fold here to show the pull towards this direction. And there's another fold here. It's very useful to have the anatomy underneath so you know where the folds should go. Same thing, the frills is being blown up this way. 2 layers. So I'm going to simplify it to a few folds. So this is the first layer. And this is the second layer. All right, all the details are done. I'm gonna just clean up the line art. I've also cleaned up the line art digitally, so it's easier to see. I hope you find this tutorial helpful, and let's paint her together in my next video using watercolor.